Hey guys, welcome to episode number 3 of Quick Tips for TFT. Today we're going to be talking about itemization and how to make your units better. So it's really all about items, placing them on the right champions, and making them carry you to victory. Alright guys, so what items should we be building? Well, this is just a list of a few of the good ones that I've selected from the entire list. Saris Embrace is probably the worst one on the list. However, on the right hero, Saris Embrace can go from a meh item to a holy moly, this item is pretty strong, right? So just going through the list, we have Ruinance Hurricane, Hextech Gunblade, Cursed Blade, Saris Embrace, Rapid Fire Cannon, Morellonomicon, Red Buff, and Locket. All of these items are great in their own respect. However, a lot of them are built and put on wrong units, right? So, I've seen Hextech Gunblade on Shens, I've seen Saris Embrace on people who don't use their ultimate, like Graves, Vayne. I've seen Rapid Fire Cannon on people who don't need it. Things like that, like, there's a lot of ways to build your team, and that includes how you equip your items that you build onto your team, right? So your team can go from mediocre to absolutely insane with just a few of these tier 2 items, right? So building one or two of these and putting it on the right unit can turn your team from a losing streak to holy moly, I might win this game. And that's seriously how easy it is. So that's why I'm making this video. It's really to talk about what items you should be building and what heroes you should be placing them on. Obviously, I can't go through every single combination because it would just become super dense, super long. But we could talk about the general statements of what units should be purchased and what items should go on those units. So we have this list what we just talked about. You have the Saris Embrace. Saris Embrace is going to go on a lot of those units who want to activate their ultimate and have a little bit of a trouble doing so, or want to activate their ultimate as much as possible. So one of the best item placements for Akali is Saris Embrace due to the fact of her low mana pool total, as well as the ability to refresh her ultimate over and over again. So this is an excellent item pickup for Akali. However, maybe a Rapid Fire Cannon wouldn't be the best on her because she needs to use her ultimate in order to maximize her damage, right? So if you're attacking from range with Akali with an RFC, she won't be able to ult unless somebody moves into her range. So that creates sort of an issue, a sort of a stall, right? So you can see that Saris Embrace compared to Rapid Fire Cannon on one hero creates a huge difference in outcome, right? So Saris Embrace is allowing Akali to ult over and over and over due to the low total, but Rapid Fire Cannon is actually preventing her from being the most efficient she can be, even though the item is super, super good, right? So these little interactions are going to change your game once you start to understand them, right? So we have Cursed Blade as well. Cursed Blade is one of those items that's absolutely unreal, but it doesn't do very much on the wrong heroes. So let's throw down maybe a Shen. Shen is one of those heroes that's designed to tank damage and prevent your team from taking damage, right? So with a Cursed Blade on Shen, it doesn't really do much to further that idea, to further that strategy. So when you have Cursed Blade on him, it's not really moving your comp to the next stage of tiers, right? So when you have a Shen, maybe you want a red buff on him or a Warmogs, right? These are some of the item combinations that you could put on Shen to help him further fulfill his role within your team. See, if you put a Hextech Gunblade on Shen, he's really going to do nothing with it because his damage output is fairly low. He doesn't use ability power or spell damage, and his use for the damage itself is pretty minimal compared to maybe an assassin or a ranged hero, things like that. So on the same side of the coin, we're looking at Ruinance with Shen. Think about the same thing we just mentioned with Shen. His only concept is to prevent your team from taking damage and to soak some damage himself. He's a frontliner, so Ruinance on him doesn't really do too much compared to maybe a Ruinance on Tristana or one of those other heroes like Draven, heroes that want to auto attack from range and want to hit multiple people. So these heroes are and it's going to bring us to our next slide as well. The heroes are really, really important for the items you want. They're basically hand in hand with how important they are. So looking at the next slide, we have determining correct placements, which is what we just talked about a little bit, but we're going to get even more specific with it. So we have Nidalee here, which is a shapeshifter wild, as we all know. One of the benefits and downsides to shapeshifters is their inability to use mana after they shapeshift. So they use mana, they throw their stuff, and then they transform. They no longer have the ability for mana. So something like a Shojin's on Nidalee would be inefficient because all it's going to do is give you the base stats of the 2 tier 1 items, and then the actual passive from the Spear of Shojin is going to be completely unusable on somebody like a shapeshifter. So that's something very important to remember is I see a lot of people build Shojins on shapeshifters and they don't get the benefit of the 15% mana after, I think it's 15% mana, I could be wrong, after the spell is used, right? So they can't gain the mana and transform into a second tiered transform. So I need people to understand why they shouldn't be building these additional mana items like Seraphs. Seraphs would not be good on anybody who doesn't need to cast their ult multiple times, right? So like a transformer, a shapeshifter is not going to want Saris Embrace, is not going to want, you know, Shojins, things like that. What they're going to want is the ability to deal more damage and survive until they can transform. So something like a Warmogs would be perfect on a shapeshifter, specifically Gnar. You may not want to put it on a Nidalee, but specifically Gnar. Think about Gnar with a Warmogs and a Thornmail or something. Like, it prevents them from dying prior to their transform, and then when they transform, they just get insane, right? So then we look at the Shen again right here. So we have Shen and we have Ruined Hurricane. Obviously, we just talked about that. We don't really want Ruined Hurricane on Shen for the fact that he is a tank. He is designed to soak damage for us and prevent our units from dealing damage, not deal damage for our team. Lucian. One of the things that I see the most on Lucian is people building Morellonomicon. That is an absolute wrong idea. You're halfway there, but you want to build red buff. So here's the deal with Morellonomicon. Morellonomicon is an amazing item on a very specific set of units. So Morellonomicon is one of those items that you want to put on a unit that is going to be dealing a lot of damage, not even the amount, damage to a lot of units. So somebody like Karthus would be amazing for it because his ult is going to apply it to everybody that his ult hits, which is everybody. Whereas Lucian is going to dash and only shoot one person with his magic damage. It's only going to put it on one person. However, if you throw red buff on him, he's going to be giving gunslingers, shooting. That is going to be applying the red buff a significantly larger amount than applying the Morellonomicon. So something just as simple as red buff compared to Morellonomicon can be a huge difference on someone like Lucian. So again, we have Blitzcrank. So Blitzcrank is one of those weird heroes. He starts with full mana. So something like a mana item on him would actually be detrimental to the rest of your team because you are giving an item that is going to do virtually nothing to Blitzcrank. However, it would be amazing on the rest of your team. So think about how you place your items on which units and what they do. What is their goal? That's the main thing to think about, is what is their goal? What is your team's goal? And what can your items do to help fulfill both of those goals? That's what I want to end on, guys. I appreciate you stopping by. I hope this extremely quick video on itemization was at least able to give you sort of an enlightening view on where to put your items in the future. I hope you guys enjoy. We'll see you next time for number 4. Have a good one, guys. Thank you very much for stopping by. If you enjoyed the content, feel free to check out my Twitter and Twitch at the Zelph. I stream daily at 3 p.m. Central Time. And don't forget to click subscribe and turn notifications on as well. Thank you very much.